duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to fight for freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
Love and protect one another.
Everyone, thank you for joining me once again. I'm sure you're watching this video because you have already watched my story of self. If you haven't, I'll put it in the description below. But if you have, you've already gone through the process of creating your story of self. Now, you're ready to move on to the story of us and the story of now. Now, altogether, this is the public narrative. And it's our job to really create this story so that we can speak to our audience, speak to our community about how they can take action, how they can move. And the story of us is built in the same way as the story of self, but with your community in mind. So the same structure goes for the story of us. You have your community obstacle, you have the choice, and then you have the outcome. Remember, the choice needs to be a spider bite moment. It needs to be that moment where the community decides to change. So it's about moving these people and shaking these people to action. It's about connecting your audience, first of all, and then talking about the problem that we're all going through and asking them what is the choice that we're going to make together. And of course, the outcome. So for me, this story is really about my immigrant story and connecting people on that narrative. So the way that I talk about this is the fact that we have fought the entirety of our country's history for the American dream. It's based on this idea that we can come to a new land and build prosperity and opportunity. With nothing in our pockets, with nothing to build on, that you, if you work hard, if you strive to be the best that you can do something with your life and you can make a better life for you and your family. Now, I know that this is the same dream that my family was raised on. My mom, my dad, we came to this country with hopes to build a better life. Same as many of our ancestors, same as many of the people in the audience, we're fighting now for the American dream. Right now we have the choice of passing a DREAM Act, and it's running through Congress. And I honestly couldn't think of another policy, another opportunity to lift up the American dream like the DREAM Act. These were children brought here, these were people brought here as children that have strived to become the best that they can with the little that they have, with barriers against them and all odds against them, and still people becoming lawyers, doctors, engineers, teachers, some people working 2 or 3 jobs to maintain a family. This is the epitome of the American dream. The dreamer is the personification of the American dream. And it's our choice as a community whether we're going to let these people, 120 at a time, lose their status and be, at risk for deportation, or if we're going to fight for these people because they mean literally the personification of the American dream. We're fighting for the soul of this country. As Americans, we need to come together and fight for a future that welcomes immigrants, for a country that welcomes immigrants, for policy that helps people who have fought so hard to make this country better have a chance at their American dream, to become citizens, to become a part of this country. They've already come so far. They've grown up with us. They fought alongside us, and they dreamed just like us. Now it's our chance to really lift up these stories, to lift up these people, because they are us. We are them. It's up to us to move this policy forward so that this country can continue to be the land of opportunity, where you can come here and find the American dream. So as you saw, I laid out a value of the American dream that people could connect to. I could tell this story in just about any public arena and have support. Of course, you may have some naysayers based on the policy. That's fine. What you want to bring in is the majority of the people. You want to connect them with a value that really connects them. This value could be family. This value could be, working hard. This value could be, like I said, the American dream. An idea that a lot of people connect with. I think a lot of people feel that way, that they have worked hard, that they have strived to make their American dream possible. And that's why this is such a great narrative. So, with that is the story of us. Now, you want to set your vision for the story of now. And I did kind of start with that in my story, but what you want to do is lay out your vision for the future and bring your audience into it and call them to action to make that vision a possibility. The way that I do it is that I talk about the problem that we're facing now and talking about the place that we can be in. Talk about what the scenario looks like now, and then paint a picture of what the world can look like if they take action, and then call them to action. So we are facing a crisis right now where 800,000 people could face deportation in the near future. After March 5th of this year, people will start losing their status. DACA recipients will start losing their status. 1,400 people a day. Each one of them a risk for deportation. Now, do we want to be a country that hunts down its people, that goes to their home in the middle of the night and separates families? Because that's what we're facing right now. I have a vision of our country, that we welcome immigrants, that we protect and fight for the American dream, that we treat our neighbors as ourselves, that we see ourselves in every immigrant that comes to this country, seeking refuge, seeking asylum, seeking opportunity, and seeking the American dream. We can all help make this possible if we fight for policies like the DREAM Act. We need to call on Congress to do their job, to stop kicking this can down the road. We have marches, rallies, events going on across the state, across the country, and we're asking all of you to help support us. Help support dreamers that have fought for this American dream for so long. Fighting for them is about fighting for us as Americans. The soul of this country is at stake. And I don't want to live in a country that separates families. I want to live in a country that unifies families, that builds community, and that prospers because of its immigrants. Now, I ask everyone that's watching this to call on Congress, to call on them and to move them to pass a DREAM Act. They've been kicking this can down the road as long as I can remember. In 2001, DREAM Act was introduced, and it gave hope to hundreds of thousands of young people across this nation. And it continues to give people hope today. But we need to realize that dream. The DREAM Act is possible if we work together. And I'm asking everyone who's watching this video to come together now and pass a clean DREAM Act. So as you saw, I laid out a vision of the future, but not without contrasting it to what can happen if we don't pass the DREAM Act. What is happening now? And then calling people to action. This is called agitational organizing, and really that is the way that you can pull people into the movement. You're not just letting them go without doing some homework, you're actually calling them to action. So in this video, I'll put in the description, the steps that you can take to actually support a DREAM Act. Because everything that I do is to move policy forward, is to move power in our community and build power. So with that said, that is the story of us and the story of now. So altogether, that is the public narrative. And you need to stitch it all together to form, these three stories in the public narrative. You need to stitch your story of self, which is 2 to 3 minutes, your story of us, also 2 to 3 minutes, and then your story of now, about 2 to 1 minutes. So altogether it should be about a 5 to 7 minute speech, and you can really use this, based on the audience that you have. And really think about who you're speaking to before you go, so that you can build your story of us and the story of now in a way that connects with them. You could be talking to a group of students, you could be talking to a group of businessmen, you could be talking to a rally of 1,000, 2,000, 100,000 people, and you need to make your vision more broader. So I will put the description of the story of us and the story of now in the description, as well as diagrams that can help you, all coming from the Marshall Gans training. I just want to give a shout out once again to Professor Marshall Gans for building this training. It was really one of the first trainings that helped me believe that I could be an organizer. I want to ask people to write their public narratives and share them with me. If they can videotape it, or if they want to write it down and share it with me, I'd be more than happy to help you create a better public narrative and to clean it up. I am always happy to help train people on how to tell their speeches and how to deliver it. So that will really be another training, hopefully coming up soon. But thank you for watching. Share, subscribe, and like this video. It's always fun to really grow the community with knowledge that I have gathered. So thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
They're doing